What if the answer to your winter burnout wasn't doing more, but very intentionally doing less? Today, I'm talking about how to take more off your plate this winter. And you might think that's impossible, but I'm sharing some simple real life ways that I'm taking things off my plate this season that will work for you too. Plus, I'm going to talk about why regulation is the first step to simplifying and a few systems I'm setting up now to make the new year in 2026 much smoother. No matter when you're listening to this will apply. So let's get to it. Welcome to Educate and Rejuvenate, the podcast to help you revitalize your teaching, renew your spirit, and reignite your passion for life. I'm your host, Kelsey Sorensen, a former teacher, current homeschool mom, published author, and certified life coach. Whether you are a teacher in a traditional classroom, homeschool from your kitchen table, or anywhere in between, I am on a mission to help you not only survive as an educator, but thrive. Get ready to uplevel your skills with incredible insights from guest experts and discover the missing piece, rejuvenating yourself. Are you ready to both educate and rejuvenate? Let's go. I am so excited to be back recording an episode for the podcast. And I've had this episode planned for a little bit, and I started getting under the weather a little bit with a cold. And so, I followed my own advice and took some time off to relax a little bit, and I'm feeling a lot better. I feel like my voice is not as great, and I'm still like, I'm going to do an audio only episode, right? It doesn't have to be all or nothing. So if you're watching this on the app or on YouTube, you're going to see an image instead of actually me, and that's totally fine. Again, simplifying is actually what we're talking about today. So today I have a new episode for you, and I'm so thrilled. This is a one-off episode. I'm not sure when you'll get another new episode, though I do hope to bring the podcast back at some point, more full force, like relaunching it in 2026. But there are just other things we need to get streamlined ahead of time. Again, like I talk about here, simplifying, taking things off your plate, and there being a time and season for everything. But I have missed recording episodes. I was recording for the Teacher Winter Talks audio summit, and I was like, I want to plan a podcast too. So here we are. But I also want to make sure that you do know there are still ways to connect in the meantime while you're waiting for the podcast to come back. If you are listening to this before December 29th, we have our Winter Educate and Rejuvenate event happening on December 29th and then December 30th as well for those who do Platinum or have the Educate and Rejuvenate Club membership. And it is going to be such a great time. You can join us with a general admission ticket for only $7. We have Anna Kowal, Jess Merrill, and Lauren Hoof. They are back to do I'm going to be doing a panel with them. You might have seen all of them on Board Teachers. They also do a book club called Over Our Dead Bodies, and that is what we're going to be talking about. We are going to be talking about thriller books, which is going to be so fun. Again, I love Educate and Rejuvenate because it's not just about teaching. It's about us as whole people. And a lot of us enjoy murder mysteries. So we'll be talking about that. We love to laugh. And then of course, I will be doing a session, a keynote that is really going to help you reflect on the year and what's to come. It's going to be really, really great. So I hope you'll join us. And then we have a huge, incredible speaker lineup. Not huge. We have an incredible speaker lineup. I want you to go to educateandrejuvenate.com/winter2025 to check it out. We've got so many incredible speakers, and each one is sharing just one simple reset to help you in the new year. It's not about overwhelm and all these new things you need to do. It's about simplifying and resetting in the new year, which is what we're talking about today as well. So if you're listening to this before December 29th, make sure to go check that out. If you're listening after, you can still get all the replays by grabbing Platinum or joining the club at the same link. That link will go to the Platinum or club page once the event is over. But also, we will be doing our masterclasses coming back in 2026 once the event is over. So you can sign up for the next masterclass. That'll be the next time for you to join me live. So, all right, let's get into today's content. So if you're listening to this, whether it's now in December or you're into January or even February, it's likely winter if you're pulling up a podcast that's how to take more off your plate in winter. But winter burnout, the winter slump is so real. I don't know if any of you remember when you went to like teacher school, like teacher college. If you did, right? They showed, at least in my classes, they showed us this curve of the disillusionment of the school year, and the winter is like right at the bottom of it. And so many of us are feeling that right now. And that's common and normal. And yet it just can feel crazy, right? And in addition, 4 in 10 Americans are affected by winter blues. It's also higher in women, which I know we have men who listen to this podcast too, but we definitely have more women. And if you're feeling it, you're not alone. And this is to help with that. What we're talking about today. Also, I'm going to share 2 past episodes that are going to help you as well at the end of this podcast. So if you listen to this and you're like, oh, I missed the podcast, I have 2 recommendations for you. Also, again, check out the full back catalog. You can always find something to fit what you need. But this season is so full, which is why I'm not here to add more to your plate. I'm here to help you take more off your plate. So let's talk about some real life things that I am doing right now to ease my mental load. I'm going to be real with you. 2025 has been one of the roughest years I've had in some time. And it's been in the last few months of this year that I've realized how many things I need to let go of, how many things I need to simplify to make 2026 sustainable energy-wise, in so many different ways, so that I can set myself off for a much better 2026. And that's what I want to help all of you to do as well. And of course, now here's the first thing we need to do before we can make any decisions about what we're going to simplify is we need to make sure that we are regulated. And when I say regulated, that means that our nervous system is regulated, because so many of us teachers, and I know this because I'm coaching so many of you. I have one-on-one clients I'm working with. I have people I'm coaching in the club every week. And so many of us were in go, go, go mode. We even tie our worth to how much we are getting done, right? We move on immediately from one thing to the next. We feel like I can rest when this is done. We just are constantly in that what's next mode. And we can't make clear decisions about what does and doesn't need to be done when we're dysregulated, because when we're dysregulated, we're just like, oh, it all has to be done. You can't get into that creative space where you can think of what you can simplify, because the idea of even simplifying, of taking something off, feels dangerous, especially if you're in that mode where you have some patterns where you've been tying your worth to how much you get done, or where you just have patterns of not stopping to rest, right? Because often when we're dysregulated, everything feels urgent. We can't prioritize because it's all urgent. It all needs to be done. When we're doing everything from a dysregulated state, even small things feel huge. So even that I have all these things. Then if you look at them, you realize, I actually could get those all done. And I'm creating more mind drama behind this, or my nervous system is feeling very dysregulated behind this. And it's actually not as bad as my body's making out to be. Or you realize I actually don't even have to do all this, or I need to do all these things, but the way I was going to do this thing, I was way overcomplicating it. So that's why the first step is always to regulate first. And that is why in our Educate and Rejuvenate cohort, and if you don't know what that is, so we just started it this year. I'm teaching a year-long course each year, and it's called the Educate and Rejuvenate Cohort Experience. And we have a theme for each month. I have a lesson I teach, and then we keep that theme in our members get it for free, or you can just buy the one-off course when we launch it once per year. We'll be doing that again in summer of 2026. We'll be launching that again, but you can join the club anytime if you want to get in on it. So I teach a lesson each month, and the one in August was about anchor in the storm. I love having little visual themes. Like August was anchor in the storm, and it's an anchor. September was new wiring. We have light bulbs and lightning bolts. And so they're all really fun. And it's been fun getting creative and coming up with those. And I'm really excited to do it again next year, because I feel like I'm going to be able to improve upon it so much. So stay tuned. But suffice it to say, in August, we started with anchor in the storm. And what I love about this is the anchor is what keeps you steady, right? It keeps you from going off, go into all those different places. It's like, okay, I'm going to anchor in right here. And what we focused on is creating, and again, we talked about way more obviously, but that the activity I had everybody do was to create an anchor menu. So what that is, and this is a concept I learned, she didn't call it an anchor menu, but I learned from my mentor, Kate Northrup, who I love. But what you do is you make a list of 1 to 5 things you can do to regulate yourself when you feel yourself stuck in that go-go mode. You feel yourself dysregulated, and you have just a few things that you want, at least a couple on the list, to be something you could do even while you're in the middle of teaching. That can be taking 3 deep breaths, like into your diaphragm, into your lower back ribs. It can be pushing your feet into the ground and physically grounding. It can be rocking side to side. It can be a stretch or movement of any kind, of something that helps you to regulate, to maybe it's name your emotion, name what you're feeling right now, pause and breathe, right? You can create a menu of 1 to 5 things, and you can have some that take a little longer. Like one could be go out on a walk or whatever. But what you do is you drop what you're doing and you do one of those things. And again, have some that you can do like immediately, because sometimes they're like in the middle of teaching or whatever. And it helps bring you back to a more regulated place. And the reason the menu is so helpful is because, again, we have a hard time making decisions when we're dysregulated. So that is why I love making decisions ahead of time. And the anchor menu is an example of that. So it can bring you back when everything feels just, For me, a few that I have on mine right now. One is get outside. Like just get outside. That is really helpful. Deep belly breaths, making a stretch, right? Making a stretch, take that out. Other one, moving your body. Again, that's one of the best ways to regulate. Again, if you are in the Educate and Rejuvenate Club or purchase the 2025-2026 Educate and Rejuvenate cohort experience, go back into the Educate and Rejuvenate app and revisit that full module if you missed it. It is so key. But if not, just do what I explained now. Anchor before action. Always create that anchor menu so you can always bring yourself back. Now let's reflect and reset a little bit on this year. What actually felt a little overwhelming this year, and what could change? And what can wait? Even the little things count. So for me, sometimes the small shifts make the biggest difference, like asking, does this really need to be done right now? Or could this be done more simply or by someone else? And asking these questions, then again, your brain goes searching for the answers, right? That mindset alone creates space for finding solutions. And winter, when you think about it, is literally a season made for this. It is a season of rest, of hibernation. Trees aren't blooming, but they're preparing for what's to come. And that's what we are literally doing too. So instead of pushing through in the winter, what if you used this time to reset, to question your brain when it says it has to be this way? For example, one thing I shared this with my email list and with the club members, but I haven't yet shared it here on the podcast, I don't think, because I haven't really been here. But as I've been planning this event, we were running a little behind getting the event out the door, and I didn't have as much help with it as I usually do. And so we were putting the event together, and at the same time as trying to get the sales page and everything ready, I was putting those together, creating, which the page is super cute, by the way. Go to educaterejuvenate.com/winter 2025. I was so proud of the work I put on that. It turned out really great. But in the meantime, I was like, how am I going to plan? Like I mentioned, I do the cohort experience where at the beginning of each month is when I had taught the module for the month. And I was like, how do I get this ready to launch and out into the world so people can sign up for this event and do the module for my members justice? Like, how do I do both at the same time? And that is the exact opposite of simplifying, right? And I'd always done it at the beginning of each month. So it took me some time. It took me actually following this advice and regulating. This would not have been accessible to me had I not taken that time to regulate. But once I did, I took some deep breaths. I went for a walk. I talked to my therapist and all the different things. And finally asked myself, what can I do in this situation? And I realized, what if, I need to do that this month, but do I need to do it at the beginning of each month? Just because it's always been that way, do I have to? And so I realized I can move it to the end of the month. It could actually be part of the platinum day of the event. So then we can invite other members of our community to join it as well if they buy the platinum ticket. And also, historically in the club, attendance at the beginning of December calls is much lower than usual because, again, it's crazy December time. So it might actually be better for everyone for it to be moved to while we're rested and on break. And so we can really use it to reflect. So I did that. I moved it to the end of the month. And that was something that was not accessible to my brain at all until I took that time to regulate and to actually reflect and to be like, what is important, right? What do I actually need to do? And another thing we did is to simplify the event this year. All the sessions are live. We're not trying to get the app ready with a bunch of pre-recorded sessions in there. We are doing them live, which is going to be great, community together. And then it's in the app, so you have all the replays. So now I can hear a lot of you saying, I can already hear it, that's different. You're not in a traditional classroom. You have some more control over what you do. And that's not true. I will admit it is different, but this still applies to those of you in a traditional classroom setting. In a recent call with our members in the club, now remember, I'm talking to teachers every week all the time. We talked about this, and those in attendance were able to come up with ways they could do this too. Both classroom teachers, homeschoolers, such as not doing the bulletin board their brain says they have to do. Another one said, it may sound awful, but I have to not do as much support for every student for those who aren't attending classes because I can only do so much right now. Another person said, rearranging my classroom. I usually do it every month, but I didn't do it for December. I'm just like, nope, in December, that's not happening. So things that are normally in your monthly routine, maybe they're not happening sometimes, and that's okay. Another person said they're using AI to write a decodable passage instead of doing it themselves, or even using their money on TPT or whatever. There are always ways, no matter, like our brain will always try to find reasons for why like this advice that is actually going to help you won't apply to you. And that's because what feels comfortable right now is, oh, well, that doesn't work for me. That's what is normal. That's what we're actually more comfortable with being uncomfortable with, like, because it's what we're used to. But if we can realize like, oh, wait, like this is actually something that can make my life better, if I can at least question this, if I can figure out ways to simplify and get over the hurdle of that's not possible for me, that is huge. Now let's move on to some of my practical things that I've been doing lately that have been literally taking things off my brain that I think can really help you too. So I've talked a lot in the past on the podcast about using Walmart grocery delivery or pickup, which I still do at times and I still like it. But I found something I love even better. Now I've tried different meal planning services before and I wasn't a huge fan of them. But my friend, and this is not sponsored in any way, okay? One of my friends recommended Hungry Root to me, and I figured I would give it a try. I am absolutely loving it. And I've even compared sometimes, like when I was first doing it, I was like, is this cost effective? But I compared like the items I had with Hungry Root to what I would have ordered online at Walmart. And it was a negligible difference, but with Hungry Root, the macros are right there. Again, I'm trying to focus on health. It tells me in the servings, the macros for the entire meal. The recipe is there. All the recipes seem to be like under 30 minutes, but I try to pick the ones that are under 20 minutes that are super easy to do. And my family loves them. My kids now get really excited about it. They give you these little recipe cards and they like to help me make them. Like it's just so much simpler than trying to meal plan and figure it out myself. It takes so much off my mental load. We are going through the drive-through way less. You actually get just the right amount of food. So we've noticed that we don't have groceries going to waste as much. So we're actually spending less in that way. It has been a total game changer. My husband, he is like, yes, we have to keep doing this. It is amazing. So if you want to try out a new meal service to help you to, again, try any of them, see what works for you. But if you want to try Hungry Root, it has absolutely been one of my favorites and a game changer for me. I'll put my referral link in the show notes, which again, this is like, it's not sponsored. I'm not even an affiliate. This is like the regular link that you would get when you sign up too. It would just give you $50 off groceries and would get me $50 to my groceries. And I love Hungry Root. So if you want to try it out, make sure you go and check that out. Now for health, like I said, 2025 was rough for me in many ways, and I may end up telling more about it on the podcast when we're in 2026. A lot of it is really fresh right now. But while health is a huge value of mine, the amount of stress that I've been under this year definitely impacted that. Now I've made some changes to start 2026 off on the right foot by doing some exercises we'll be doing together at the winter event. I had to, again, simplify a lot of things. And realize some of the ways I was doing things and how they were stressing me out. So one thing I did for my health is I joined a new app called Ladder and I joined their team. They have different teams. So you can pick a team based on what type of workouts you like to do, how long you want to work out. There's one called Align, which those of you who know my coaching framework, Observe, Choose, Align, that already called to me. And it's a mix of strength training and yoga. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Because last year in 2024, I was going to strength training and yoga like classes regularly. I had a couple days of the week where I went to multiple classes. And this year that has not been able to happen. So the fact that one program can incorporate both of those types of workout, I love. Super excited about it. And I don't have to think about it. I can do it from home, not much equipment needed. And also it has a nutrition tracker that you literally just use your voice and tell it what you ate. And it's actually pretty dang accurate. So like I got sick of using like, all the other fitness apps, like where you have to like type things in or even scan barcodes and all of that to track. It just got to be a pain. But now I feel like I have no excuse. I just pull out my phone because again, I feel like for me, I still have been consistently working out, but with the stress, honestly, I think part of it has been cortisol and also not eating as well, like hitting the drive-through a lot because we had a lot going on. And again, that's where Hungry Root is really going to help. We've been using it for like 2 months now and I'm not going back, but what I love about the Ladder app is it's simple, structured, and I don't have to think about what to do. So again, I'm giving just 2 specific examples of the ones I love, but again, find your version and maybe whatever it is that's the big mental load for you. For me, a lot of it was food and health. Those were big ones for me. So if you want to join me, so in the Ladder app, there is like a community. If you want to join my Ladder team, I'll put my link for that in the chat as well. But again, both of these are examples of making decisions ahead of time. And again, that makes it really easy on us so we can get into a regulated place, make a decision, a clear, conscious, intentional decision ahead of time that we can continue to follow through. That can be a huge game changer in the new year. And sometimes that is even deciding something needs to wait. Like, for example, when one of our members said she usually rearranges her classroom once a month. She wasn't doing it in December, but maybe so she could put her brain at ease. She's like, but don't worry, we're going to do it again on January 5th. So you can put your brain at ease. So when your brain comes up again, it's, wait, we're not doing that. Are you ever going to do it? It's trying to protect us and make sure that we don't forget things that are important. You just put it on the calendar and then you can be like, hey, no, it's okay. We're going to worry about it at this time. Now, some other simple everyday stress reducers. I don't know about you, but my phone battery just seems to be getting a lot worse lately. And I don't like to replace my phone all the time. So a portable battery charger, again, just what are little things that can make your life easier so you're not like, oh, my phone's dead again. Much cheaper than upgrading my phone. Another one I love again, these are just random things I've been loving. The laundry that I've been trying to keep up with, like, when I wash my face at night, I would try to use a new towel every night because I'm trying to deal with this hormonal acne. I don't know if it's just like perimenopause or what it is, but like it's been getting bad. And I found some things that have really helped with that. If anybody's interested, I could probably do a whole podcast on that, which is not teaching related. So that's why I'm not really going too deep into it. But one thing I found that helps with the laundry and all that is I've gotten these new biodegradable face towels. So it's less laundry and better for my skin. So that's a total win-win as well. And they're super cheap on Amazon. Now, so number 2, that was just mental load helpers. In just your everyday life, not necessarily teaching related, they're going to help you with that bandwidth, with that mental space, right? And then number 3 is creating systems at home and at school. This is what I'm leading into for January. What systems can I set up now to make the rest of the year easier? So in the classroom, maybe that's your prepping reusable small group bins or centers ahead of time, getting those reorganized into a way that just makes sense into the coming year. Resetting how you track parent communication or behavior logs. Again, there are going to be so many ideas at Winter Educate and Rejuvenate for how you can do this. Maybe if you're homeschooling or you're also a parent at home, you're resetting chore charts or cleaning rhythms in your home. And I have another podcast I want to recommend that is going to totally help you with delegation and systems. I want you to go back and check out episode 144 on the podcast that's all about delegation. It's called How to Delegate More This School Year. And then also, if you're feeling the winter blues, make sure that you check out episode 112, How to Bust the Winter Blues. So again, this was just one little popping in there podcast for you. Those are a couple specific recommendations that I have for you as we continue through this winter, and I'm not able to record new ones for a little bit, but highly recommend that you check those out. Now, if anything in this episode has had you be like, oh yeah, I need that too, or yes, 2025 was hard for me and I want to set myself up for a better 2026. I don't know. I feel like most people I talk to, there's just been something about the energy of 2025 that has been a little rough. And so we're going to come together during the winter reset. We are going to reflect on the good from this year, from the experiences we've had, the lessons we've learned, and we're going to prepare ahead for 2026. And so if you're listening to this before that, there's really no reason not to join us. It is $7 for your ticket. You're going to get more than $7 worth of value, I promise. Even just with the freebies our presenters are giving out, along with all the sessions, you're going to have replay access in the app, even if you can't make it on the 29th. Go to educateandrejuvenate.com/winter2025 to learn more. And if you're listening to this after that, be sure to sign up for our next masterclass. No matter when you're listening to this, go to educateandrejuvenate.com/masterclass. It'll take you to whatever live event we're doing now, which if you're listening in any time near when we're doing this episode, it'll be our live masterclass. But if you're listening to this like years in the future and we're doing something else, that link should go to wherever you can connect with me live next. So again, as we are going into 2026, and maybe you're listening to this, we're already in the winter at the beginning of the year. It's never too late to restart. Again, I'm going to be doing a lot of reflection even into January and all of that. But one thing that I'm really prioritizing as we go into 2026 is true, genuine connections with the Educate and Rejuvenate community. I want to connect with you. When we relaunch the show next year, I'm hoping to make that even more so of a thing. But that's why I love the masterclasses and doing them live. And make sure you're on our email list because we have some fun things we're sharing there. Download the Educate and Rejuvenate app. You get little pick-me-ups from us for free in the Educate and Rejuvenate app. So make sure that you've downloaded that as well. So deep breath. You've got this. You can simplify this winter. I promise. If you take just a couple of these tips, if you just take that anchor menu and take some time to regulate and ask yourself those clear questions of, does this really need to be done right now? Could this be done more simply? What is actually most important right now? You will be able to find ways to simplify. I promise you. Okay, we'll chat soon. Thank you for joining me on Educate and Rejuvenate, the podcast today. If you love what you heard in this episode, be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you're hungry for even more, be sure to check out the book that I wrote. It's called Educate and Rejuvenate, a 3-step guide to revitalize your teaching, renew your spirit, and reignite your passion for life. It takes everything you learn here on the podcast and that I teach our members inside the Educate and Rejuvenate Club into a guidebook you can refer to again and again. One of our early readers said it was like clarity for her brain. Plus, it's not only a book. With your purchase, you'll get a full PDF guide with exercises and links to videos and more so that you can not only consume but apply everything that you learn. If you're ready to make Educate and Rejuvenate not just a podcast you passively listen to, but a lifestyle that you put into action, it's time to grab your copy on Amazon today. Or head to educateandrejuvenate.com/book to read the first chapter and the introduction today.